And that was Jason K. Wong from his album Human Rights Trio and the track Battle for the Indelible Truth. Now we have with us at WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM two very special guests from the Chess Scholars Program that is also part of Afterschool Enrichment Solutions. Renee, Hisey, and Sheri Warren. Renee, did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you so much for having us, Trudy.
Oh, you're welcome. And also, I think I forgot to mention, wizards remain anonymous while on the air. Okay, thank you.
Very well.
First of all, what is the difference between the Chess Scholars Program and other chess programs for youth?
Well, one of the things that really sets us apart is that we're very focused on doing a lesson. There are a lot of chess clubs and a lot of chess groups that meet. However, a lot of them are more informal, with people just coming together to play. It's really important to us that students learn at their level. And so one thing that sets us apart is that our instructors are given a way to sort of assess the chess skills of the group that's in front of them. We teach them some techniques to be able to know what level the students are at in order to do a chess lesson that is specifically geared for their skill level before they just start to play. There's always a lesson that is part of the class as well. A really engaging and fun lesson that gets the kids involved.
So does that involve seeing how much they already know about chess, or just giving them directions on how to play chess and then see which students catch on easier?
Well, the very first thing that our instructors do on the first day is assess the students in a really fun and casual way. It's not like they're taking a hard test or anything like that. But to be able to get the idea of where the students are at, our instructors are also really well equipped to deal with a mixed ability group. So if there is a group of students and some of them have never played chess before, and then other students have been playing for years, our instructors are given an approach to make sure that all students are engaged and that we help every student get to the next level, regardless of how much information they come in with.
Well, first of all, let's get your official titles and then we'll continue. I have a follow-up question for that.
My name is Renee Hisey, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Quality Assurance here at Afterschool Enrichment Solutions and Chess Scholars. And I'm very pleased to be here, and I get the privilege of being able to still see students in the classroom, meet closely with our instructors, and it's just an all around, I get all that wonderful variety that education brings people.
And my name is Sheri Warren, and I am our curriculum manager. After teaching the classes for years, now I'm in the position of helping other instructors learn the best ways to teach the programs.
So Renee, were you an instructor before?
I was for many years, sometimes every day of the week, Monday through Friday, a lot of fun.
And did you teach other classes? Were you at maybe teaching at other schools before you became involved with Chess Scholars? Both
Yes.
you and also Sheri.
Yes, I have experience in pretty much all grades and including special education. So I came to Chess Scholars with a nice life experience and classroom experience.
And let me just follow up with Renee a little bit before. So how do you feel Chess Scholars is different from other teaching tests before? I know that it's about chess, but is there still something different and special about Chess Scholars that separated from a regular classroom?
Well, the emphasis that we really, and then I received right away from the very beginning with the training I received from Chess Scholars and the materials that supported me in implementation of the program was simply there's different learners, and to listen to each individual child and to really adapt accordingly. And the most important thing was keeping it fun, because we all know that if we're going to have fun doing something, we're going to get more out of it, we're going to learn more about it, and we're going to reach the student. So keeping it fun, keeping it high energy, and just really going in there with a positive smiley face. And it's really a wonderful way for the children to end their school day and to extend it a little bit with this element of fun.
Sheri?
Yes, well, to with the original question, yes, I did teach in many different settings before I jumped in with both feet with Chess Scholars and After School Enrichment Solutions. And my favorite thing about teaching these classes and teaching these students than doing traditional classroom teaching has been that atmosphere of fun, as Renee said. To know that for many students, this is their favorite hour that they spend inside that school building. I feel like that is a really, it's a cherished opportunity, really, to help them associate that school building with fun and with a good time. And, you know, they look forward to it all week long, and to get to be the adult who's working with the students who are genuinely excited to be there. It's a real treat.
So did you say before, we did interview before separately, only 2 hours per week?
Uh, Different schools operate differently, and we work with every organization we work with. We fulfill the need that they fulfill. The most common choice for a school is to have us do 1 hour a week of any given subject. So if some schools want us to come and do 1 hour a week of chess, and then maybe they'll have us come back a different hour of the week for an art class, or for a drama class, or for STEAM, or any of the other things that we do. But typically you're working with one group of students on one subject for 1 hour a week in most cases.
And on the average, how many students per group?
Boy, I don't know if there is an average. We are very intentional about keeping our groups small. You know, if there are, say, 100 students at a school that want to learn chess, that's wonderful. But what we will do in that case is we're likely to send in, you know, 8 or 9 instructors, so that each instructor is working typically with no more than 15 students, so that that instructor can really get to know the kids and give that one-on-one time that's really important.
For sure, for just 1 hour. Is it necessary for your groups to have only even number of students for chess?
That's a very good question, because it's hard to imagine how it would work with an odd number of students. But no, that is not the case, because a key part of our program is kind of progress tracking for the students, challenging the students to be able to move up to the next level. As students advance through our program, they have the opportunity to earn a different status level. Like you start as a pawn. Everybody begins at the lowest rank, but then you can move up to be a knight, to be a bishop, to be a queen, to be a king. And so that student who might be sitting out of a game, once it's time for the students to pair up, that student will get some time to work with the instructor in order to test which level they are at and whether they are ready to move on to the next level. So that students who are motivated by that, by earning that next level of achievement, have the opportunity to work with the instructor to have that time. And so that is how we take advantage of situations where there's an odd number of students.
Well, I imagine that having students role play like that helps them to identify with the different pieces more easily.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's great because it's you know, competition is a part of chess, and wanting to win against your opponent is certainly something that is a natural response when you play chess. But with this progress testing that we do, really you're competing against yourself, so that you can see if you can get yourself further and to think about it that way rather than winning at the expense of another student. You are winning to try to achieve the highest possible level for yourself.
So do the students identify with their chess piece within the game that they're playing against another student?
You know, we try to bring that into it. We try to, you know, a lot of our instructors are really creative in their approaches and almost personalizing those pieces a little bit and saying, okay, well, I want you to think right now like a knight and tell me the kind of moves that you can make here. And you know that you have to protect your queen. To kind of personalize things like that really makes it come alive for a lot of our students.
And earlier, my follow-up question was that you separate the students at different levels, and this being American with Disabilities Act today, that has been the theme for our show today. So if let's say some students had some disability that made them a little slower to progress than the other students, then how do you address that?
Well, chess is fun at every level, right? Even if you're not, and I think this is something that keeps a lot of adults even from wanting to learn is they think, there's too much, there are too many rules, there's too much expertise. One of the things that we play is a very simple game called Pawn Wars, where you are only dealing with the pawn pieces and you are still building on the fundamentals of chess. So you are still very much learning and growing in the area of chess, but you are only working with the pawn pieces. And then we slowly add in other pieces into the game as the students are ready. And so this is one thing that our instructors, who are of course chess players, who are very good at determining, okay, what is the best move? What is the best path for the student? How can I pair this student thoughtfully with another student who, so that both students will be able to grow through this partnership of playing together? I believe our instructors are very sensitive to that and are certainly trained in that discernment of making sure that we're presenting the perfect level of challenge for each student who's playing.
Oh, it seems as if in the early lessons that you don't use the entire all the chess pieces. You start with like a couple and then progress and add pieces as the students learn more.
Absolutely. We think it would be the biggest mistake you could make with a beginning chess player to try to teach them everything at once before they're even able to play. We make it so that, all right, today, if you're a complete beginner, you're only going to learn about the pawns and you're really going to master these pawns and you're going to play a game using only the pawns before we add all of these other pieces and their roles. That way we really are moving at the pace of the students.
How that's really awesome. How does
You know,
the
chess
chess?
is intimidating, right? So it makes it a
Yes.
bit less intimidating
Mhm.
when you think about learning only mastering one piece at a time.
Right. And again, and usually how long is the program? How many weeks?
We are very flexible with that. Once again, some schools ask for shorter sessions. Some schools want us to come once a week for the entire school year. Our average session, I would say, is 8 weeks. That seems to be a very popular choice, but we're really flexible.
And again, how many chess pieces per side?
How many? 15.
15.
16.
Okay.
I'm sorry. 16. You line up your first and second row of that. That is also one of the first things that we teach is learning how to set up that chessboard properly.
Mhm. How does the Chess Scholars Program lend itself to helping youth address conflict resolution?
Well, the whole I like the Benjamin Franklin quote, and he says, "Chess is not merely an idle amusement. Life is a kind of chess," and it really is. We're confronted with different situations in life, and just like the board, you know, you want to make good decisions at the time that you need to. So it's about reaction, being reactionary, and but also being very mindful and thoughtful before you react. And I think that's an excellent lesson. I think that lends itself to self-control. I think children that learn how to play chess have a stronger a stronger toolbox, like more tools in which to pull from when it comes to reacting to different life situations and having the self-control. A lot of things with that is also self-esteem. We've seen amazing things. Children that have like ESL students, English as a second language. The language barrier isn't any issue when it comes to chess. And just the polite, respectful sportsmanship that we're teaching and the thoughtful approach to taking turns, long-term and short-term goals. Yes, you can capture that piece, but do you want to? Do you want to react at the time for that short-term value of capturing that piece, whatever the value is? If it's a queen, you're going to be getting 9. If it's a pawn, it's a 1 point. But thinking about that, because there are strategic moves following that might be more beneficial to hold back and to have that self-control and to have that understanding that, you know what, I see it too, but it might not be a good time. So, wait on that. So I really love seeing a child develop and thinking through, they've got their finger on the piece and they're, oh, I can capture, but then they say, you know what, I think it might be better if I hold the line. So I just think restraint and self-control, I think all of that setting goals, it's just so beautiful when it comes to looking at the whole life, all of the life skills that we can gain from chess. And I think it really empowers students too, because those are their pieces. They're in control of their pieces. And children aren't in control of a lot. They have their schedule. This is your schedule, and this is what you're doing. But when they're sitting in front of their chessboard, those are their pieces, and they're in the driver's seat, and they can make decisions. And the decisions won't make or break you. They're just going to help you to learn more life lessons with every game. So I think that's the biggest. I think that's the beauty of chess right there. And all you can from different. It's multicultural. It's an ancient game. And it has people from all diverse backgrounds can enjoy this game and play it and really solve life situations and solving these wonderful puzzles that chess brings.
What are the average ages of the students in the program?
I'd say the average age is between kindergarten and 5th grade. But with that being said, we work with a lot of schools that go up to 8th grade, and we have many classes that are kindergarten through 8th grade, and that multi-grade classroom works beautifully. It really does, because chess is an equalizer. Chess is truly an equalizer. It's the battle of the minds, and it can be enjoyed with a kindergartner can very easily play with an 8th grader.
So that's what they do, right?
That's what they do.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
How long into the program before they start playing with other age groups, or do you have them when you assess the students, you already are able to group them into their eventual groups?
Yeah, actually, they're always playing with someone different, but we try very hard to match them with the about the same level of chess, and then we mix it up a little bit because we want to keep their confidence going. So we try to pair them up accordingly to, to their skill level with what they're already bringing in to a class. If they're not at the beginner level, if they have some experience, but then from there we really try to branch out, and a student with more experience may be playing with a student with less. And being a teacher a little bit gains a lot of wonderful aspects to that. So, but we do rotate, and we do have children playing with different skill levels, opponents with different skill levels.
So, so you're saying that you find some of the opponents actually do a little teaching too, just not gloating over their win, but actually helping their the less skilled students.
Well, that good sportsmanship is part of it. And I think our instructors are very good at discerning which students will enjoy having sort of a mismatched ability level where they're sort of teaching somebody as they play, and which students would be frustrated or bored by that. Because not every student is the same. So our instructors are pretty discerning and able to tell which students will really thrive from that and which students need to be with somebody who is at their same challenge level in order to be challenged. The beautiful thing too is that because our programs they're very popular programs, it's most of the time we're returning to a school where we have already gotten to know those students. We have already worked with some of them. Our instructors really do get to know the kids as they work through a program for years. There are schools that we have been with for you know, a couple decades now that we've been working with all this time. As you get to know the students, you're able to pick up on that as students return. The instructor can often make some of those judgments right off the bat, even from the first day.
When you do your initial assessment, is that mostly like an interview, or is it a written assessment, like answering questions from the students?
It's actually observing the students as they play. Well, the very first thing an instructor does with a new group is say, okay, who here has never played chess before? Knowing that those students need to learn at least about the pawns before they can begin. And then the other students who indicate that they have already learned a little bit, the instructor will match those students together. And then after teaching that basic first lesson for the beginners, the instructor moves through the room and watches the students as they're playing, and the instructor knows what to watch for with that assessment. So the kids don't even realize they're being assessed. They think they're just playing, but our instructor is watching for things, watching for strategies being used, more advanced strategies such as castling. Does a student know how to do this? Our instructor is watching for games that are getting stalemated when they shouldn't. Our instructor is watching for how long the games are taking. And so there's this whole list of things instructors are watching for that we teach them to watch for as they're watching students play, that help them know which kind of chess player they're looking at in terms of their experience level.
So did you say look trying to look for castling? I never heard of that term before, because I'm not that good of a chess player at all.
It's something that you learn fairly early on. It's just an additional step in protecting your queen, in moving your king, moving the pieces around the board a little bit to sort of create an extra hedge of protection around your king. But it is using a kind of movement that is not legal at any other part in the game. So it's just one of those little things. You can certainly play a game of chess without knowing about castling. But if you are a student who castles, we know, okay, this is a student who has played, because they know about this extra strategy to keep your king protected.
Since chess relates to directing defense, does the program help students about self-care? And if so, what way do you see it?
That is a very important topic right now. Self-care, we are experiencing, and we have experienced, an unprecedented, circumstances with children, schools being closed, and there's just a great deal of children that are challenged right now, unfortunately, with just struggles, and just mental health issues are at the forefront right now. So that social emotional learning is more important than ever. And here at Chess Scholars, that's part of our training. When we communicate very closely with our instructors and with the school, we're very much in tune of that child's development as a whole. And we're listening. We're listening to that child. If they have a story to tell, if they have something to convey to us and how they're feeling, that's more than half the battle right there with self-care. Where that they feel heard and listened to. And I think that's so important. So that's because right now, with everything else, the effect that these conditions have brought, there's this exasperated childhood issues. It really has. It really has exasperated already serious issues that were there, and children need a little bit of extra support. right now, as well as we all do. That self-care, that positive thinking, the mindfulness, being in the moment, not being too self-critical, just allowing us to take our time and to breathe and just expectations out the door, just be and have a good time, and let's have fun while learning. And at the same time, our focus, different factors of stress can have a lot of impact on the brain, for children and adults. So being aware of it and being a good listener, I think those are the two things that will really help combat a lot of this. Because as children are getting back, even social situations, children are learning every day in social situations, and when they don't have that interaction as much, they're going to be needing a little bit of extra practice being heard and listening. So being in tune with that, I think, is really important. And I'm very proud, and I can give the credit to our Ms. Sheri Warren here, our curriculum specialist. She has been amazing integrating right in our lesson plans this social emotional learning and how we can reach out and really positively impact children. And the things that we've done with our virtual platform and seeing eye to eye with the students and listening and playing games and just really the social element that has brought is just incredible to me, what we've been able to do. So even though in person stopped for a little bit, and in some cases it's still there right now, that virtual platform is still a wonderful interaction and mode of communication for the children to continue with that self-care and habits alone, establishing positive habits. That's a comfortable thing for a child to know. I know what to expect. I know how this structure is. I know what I need to do, and I know how to have fun in this safe environment. So a lot of that self-care, it really helps children cope with stress and trauma. So it's a nice coping mechanism, just learning the game of chess.
And so you find that the students, once they're in the group and then going through the lessons plan, eventually some of them do confide in you and then come to you with the problems, because you mentioned that you have to be a good listener. So you build that trust in the students to confide in you if they need some help.
Absolutely. And then we're in close communication with the administration of the school or the park district. And we also have a very excellent rapport, and we reach out. We're the parent liaison as well. So communication and being an advocate for that child, and however we can communicate, it just works beautifully.
What age of students catches on to chess the fastest, would you say?
There's not really one particular age, because children are such natural learners and able to take on more information, especially with our approach of not doing everything too fast, not putting on too much at once. Everybody can learn and everybody can go to the next level. And it's wonderful to be able to work with kids in chess in that wonderful season of childhood where you are you're learning things all the time, and so you are confident in your ability to learn more things. As adults, we have strong opinions about, oh no, I can't learn that, or I'm not good at that, or I'm just not a person who does that. Kids aren't like that. They come in, of course I can learn to play chess, of course I can learn to code, I just learned how to do this thing last week, of course I can do this. Kids don't shoot themselves down about their ability to learn things as much as adults do. So really any time in that season of childhood we are able to begin, it's a great foundation. There really is not one specific age.
Do you have any insight, since you mentioned that, whether it's adults that are shooting the children's confidence down, or is it the child themselves?
Oh man, what is it that causes us to go from people who are confident? What it really is it's being okay with making mistakes. you know, and as you look at a child, even just a child learning to walk, they fall down with almost every step they take, but they keep on getting up, and they keep on going. And that's part of learning, is making mistakes, losing a chess game. You know, if you're playing chess against somebody who already knows how to play, you're going to lose every time, because it is not a game of chance at all. But you keep on going. And I think it varies from person to person what it is that makes us more tentative about making mistakes in front of other people. But that's what it is. We at some point develop this shield of protection around ourselves, where we don't want other people to see us make mistakes. That I think is what it is. Not so much that adults or anyone is imposing that on students, but just this self-awareness that we come to, this self-consciousness that you see a lot, especially in junior high and high school. It's just a battlefield of wanting to project only the best part of yourself out there and being afraid to make mistakes. But man, I would love if we could help kids to be comfortable with that forever, even as they transition into adulthood, because that's what it all is all about, is making mistakes, but improving the next time.
Do you see that all your students become more confident by the end of the program? At least most of them.
Oh, all of them.
All of them.
All of them do, because every one of them will have learned something. And it's wonderful too to see kids who have chess players in their family be able to go home and be able to play against them, or want to play against them, and to see them grow in that way too. To be able to take what they're learning and bring it back, and maybe even teach their parents how to play. We hear reports of that from time to time as well.
So when the kids have someone playing at home, is it usually a parent, or is it a grandparent or an aunt, uncle?
It really can be any, but there is a strong connection there between grandparents playing with grandchildren, which I think is so wonderful, because there's so many new games every day. New games are coming out that might be, things come and go, but the chess has been there forever, and that it is that link from generation to generation.
Yeah, chess is here to stay.
Yeah, it is.
Have there been any developments in the Chicago Park District adopting the Chess Scholars Program? And does the Chicago Park District have their own chess program for youth? Do you know?
Well, at this point, we have a lot of different tendrils out there, and we have been networking with them. So we are in communication. We work with over 480 schools in the Chicagoland area. So we already have strong partnerships, which is fantastic. So, and we have tried and true, results. We have so many happy schools and families that have worked with us. So we are in communication, and we're very excited to take that next step. We do work with so many park and rec districts across the country as well.
So the park and rec districts, are those part of the 480 schools, or schools are separate and parks and rec districts are separate?
Yeah, you know what? Those are just the schools.
Okay.
So that's separate. Yeah. So we're very excited to, in amass all these beautiful partnerships with so many schools across the country. And 20 years, that's a long time to build.
Mhm. And for the schools, do they include all schools, like from public schools to private schools to, let's say, Catholic schools as well?
Absolutely. We work with Montessori schools, charter schools, private schools, Christian schools, Catholic schools, public schools, park districts, recreation departments, community education departments, depending on how they're titling themselves. But yeah, and we even have homeschool groups that get together and they manage their co-op, and we come in and we facilitate and a wonderful chess program for them. So we've been in adult community recreation classes as well. And then of course we have our tournaments, both virtual, and we often have tournaments on site, on location too.
At the homeschool groups, did you have those groups before, even before the pandemic, or it was on account of the pandemic?
We did have some homeschool groups before the pandemic with their co-ops.
Well, it's getting back into the history, but do you know when Chess Scholars program started, what was like the first school or organization where the program started to take hold?
I can answer that. It was right in CPS. I don't know the first school, but I believe it was a private school in Chicago. And Ilya Korsanovich, he started it. He was a chess master, and he personally taught it as well. So that's how it started. We just started with chess, and then we added the other programs. Our new STEAM program was recently added. Amazing. It really is. We're launching it. Well, it has been already launched, but this fall it's going full blast, and we're really excited about it. And then we have Spanish, we have drama, we have art. So there's a lot of wonderful, amazing things in addition to chess. But chess is, we would say, that's our origin. That's where everything started.
And it ties a lot of the different subjects together too.
Mm-hmm.
For STEAM, so that is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics.
That's correct. That's correct. And it's wonderful to have that cross curriculum, to tie those all together. And Sheri has done an amazing job in our new STEAM program doing so. And Sheri, if I can say, because of your art background alone, and just, it's amazing how substantial these lessons are, and how the different learners can take something from there. And, if they identify with a smaller aspect of that STEAM, that acronym that you had just pointed out, if they identify to one small, it's going to engage them 100% more than it would have if we just, hyper focus on just the science. So making it applicable and relatable to the lives around them and their interest, I think that's incredible.
It's been really fun to make a program, develop a program that really recognizes the need for well-rounded experience in these fields.
Well, Sheri, when with your background in the arts, then every project you take on, it seems as if it's like an art project. You put the pieces together and make them flow in a pleasing way.
It's been, I think of myself as a lifelong learner. And you continue to evolve. We all do. And as I'm learning new things, even just working with students virtually over the last year and a half, I have learned so many new things. It's been really important to me, even in my current position of developing the curriculum, to stay close to the teaching experience, to remain connected to the kids. I am working with students every week, in addition to putting together the curriculum, staying really close to what those needs are and what the experiences are for the kids.
Any example of how the curriculum changed as a result of a different factor of the pandemic settling into the Chess Scholars classroom?
Yes, yeah, I can tell you specifically, one of the big changes that we made was in finding, in our in-person classes pre-pandemic, our instructor would bring this enormous kit of everything, highly specialized equipment, robotics kits, snap circuits equipment, stuff that, really expensive stuff that we ordered and we had developed and built these programs around. Obviously, in wanting to run science and technology programs with the students during the pandemic, those students don't have those things in their homes. We would not have been able to ship every student a kit like that, and that wouldn't necessarily have been even for the best. So what we did is we started thinking about, what do students have in their home? What is in almost every student's kitchen? What do they have just around the house? Ordinary things that we can learn from, that we can do science experiments with, going way beyond just the baking soda and vinegar common reaction. That's a really fun one to start with, but there are hundreds of activities that you can do just with common household things. And to take that approach to it has completely shifted the way we will be teaching going forward. You know, even better that, I mean, it was really fun to have a student make a remote control car, but they can't go home and show their parents what they made. Whereas they can take one of our classes now, they can go home and run into their kitchen and say, oh, watch this. I need an egg and I need this. And I, you know, with the things, giving them the tools to learn and grow from what they have around them, I think is the biggest change that we have made since the pandemic. And it's been a really valuable change for us.
How has the Chess Scholars Program developed or changed over the years, like the different milestones, if you have them?
Well, we only taught one of the big milestones for us is when we started branching out into other subjects, because we only taught chess for a while. The way that it has evolved obviously is not with the game itself, because the game itself is not changing. the game itself is what it ever was and what it ever will be. But different approaches to it, the ways that we have changed in, you know, I think our approach in the beginning was just to make sure we were hiring people who could really play chess and give them all the possible chess information that they need. We would give them this gigantic tome of wisdom in how to learn chess. And here's everything you could possibly need to know about chess. Go.
From that Russian player, right? What's his name?
Yes, yeah, Ilya. He imparted all of his wisdom and he put it into these pages. But that did not necessarily give you a lot of insights about the way that kids' minds work and the things that children need to hear, and the ways that you can connect chess to the socio-emotional learning that Renee was talking about. And that is a shift that we have made, is that we've really started imparting a lot of that to the instructor. And that ability to work with kids and to understand children, that is even more important to us now than someone's chess mastery. Obviously, we want our instructors to be proficient chess players. It is even more important to us that they understand how to teach and how to work with students. I think that has been a big change to our approach in teaching chess.
About when was this shift from just chess to a lot of everything else?
Can you ask that again?
About when was this shift from chess, only chess, to a lot of everything else?
I believe that was about 10 years ago.
Oh, you've moved very fast in 10 years.
Well, you know, we started, I believe it was around 2011, we started adding Spanish, guitar, and drama. And then a couple of years after that, we added, you know, engineering classes. And then we added coding, and then we added art. We have since added sports as well. And so something new all the time as we have continued to evolve.
How do you add sports to your program?
Just rather than hyper focused on one particular sport, you know, a lot of students will join a soccer team, or will join a baseball league or something like that. Our approach to it has been sort of a sampler platter, a little bit of everything. Again, we know that really the most important thing we're teaching is sportsmanship, good sportsmanship, and healthy habits as well, getting moving. We consider that to be the most important thing they're learning, rather than the fundamentals of any one particular sport. So every week as the students gather, they're trying out different games, they're playing different sports, and learning and growing in those areas of health and fitness, as well as good sportsmanship.
So do all your students that are involved in the other activities, do they all start out with chess, or do some of those students just start out with the other subjects?
Some of them just start out with the other subjects. There are some students who say, that's not for me, I would rather do drama. So the schools, we love it when schools allow us to offer an array of subjects, even though chess is the number one. It is the most popular subject that we teach. It's wonderful to be able to meet the needs of students whose interests lie elsewhere.
Do you know whether it is the students that chose to learn the chess, or was it their parents?
That's a good question. It probably, a half and half. I would think. There are some students who definitely want to learn by themselves, but there are a lot of parents who want their children to learn because they recognize all of the educational value of learning to play chess and everything that it can do for you. Studies have shown that it improves your grades, it improves your concentration. There's so many benefits that it would make a parent want their child to learn it. But it's because it's also fun. The kids are drawn to it as well. So really, I think it's a little bit of both.
What do you enjoy most about working in the Chess Scholars Program?
I think the ability to work with kids when they want to be there and when they are interested and engaged, which is that is what we get. That is a privilege. I have taught in other settings. I have taught students who don't want to be there, who don't want to learn, who would rather be home in bed or doing something else. And you really have to, it takes a lot of skill to pull those students through those learning challenges. It is pure fun to get to work with students who are excited about the subject. They're choosing to take this class. They want to be there. That is a real privilege.
Renee?
I agree with what Sheri just said. I also like the challenge of just making it an open, like just an open, relaxing, safe environment where those children, I find it a privilege that both the parents, the school have given us the ability, the honor to provide 1 hour, where they're sharing 1 hour of their time, if sometimes more, throughout the week. And I want to make that hour stellar. I want that hour to shine because, time is so valuable, so I like to use every ounce of that time to really promote everyone's, to raise everyone's self-empowerment, their self-esteem, and their positive connection to learning in general and just being themselves. I think that's really important. And like Sheri had said before, extending that school day, like this will most likely and usually is their favorite time of that particular day. So, let's make it great and be in the present and enjoy the moment and use that time and squeeze out every last ounce of fun and learning opportunity.
What is the most difficult part of working in the Chess Scholars Program, and how do you address that challenge?
Well, I'm sure that other companies and especially HR right now that might be listening to this can identify one of the big challenges right now is hiring. We are very fortunate though, because having had, being in this business for 20 years now, over 20 years, we have the benefit of having all of those solid established relationships. So we have a wonderful pool of veteran instructors, to draw from and to assign. So I think we're ahead of the game with one of these huge challenges in hiring. But it is an interesting time, right now for where we are in getting that talent that has the time and the availability. So we're very fortunate. We're very grateful for all of our veteran relationships and the wonderful communication and rapport that we have, that we can get the best people in these privileged, I think, wonderful, like we were saying, time spots within that hour of privilege to be able to share your time with a student. That's everything, that time. So we also have very highly competitive pay rates. Our compensation rates are very competitive, and that keeps us, as an option for many people, whether they're CEOs in a company that want to mix up their week a little bit, give some variety, give back to society a little bit, and just get in the ground floor with those honest, I always say, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed face kids, that are just eager to learn. They're not in a boardroom for just a little bit of a time during their work week. And so we have college students, we have people involved in the community, we have teachers, we have retired teachers, we have one of my favorite chess instructors was a retired firefighter. So they come from all different places, all different occupations, and we make it happen, and we get people from the community to really be a positive influence and to be able to share with these children.
This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, and we have with us Renee, Hisey, and Sheri Warren of Chess Scholars Program and After School Enrichment Solutions. Renee, are the instructors, do they have other jobs as well, or are they able to just work in this program? Because you said that HR has difficulty filling the positions. Then if you find the right people, then you could just give more work for them so that they could just concentrate on this one job, right?
We have both aspects. We have, all of the positions are part-time because it's usually either before school. We have some programs during school, but most of them are after school. So we have many instructors that, depending on where they are and how many programs are in their area, we do have some that work several days throughout the week. We have Monday through Friday programs. We also have instructors that are just working 1 hour a week that they can fit into their busy work schedule, and that works beautifully too. College students, sometimes more than 1 hour, sometimes it just, whatever, because it's such a flexible time frame and it's just 1 hour, most people can make that happen with some flexibility. And we've seen amazing things. Oh, employers hear about this and, yeah, I don't want to stop you from this kind of mentorship opportunity. Please let's be a little bit flexible and move this hour here and that hour there, and it happens. So it's pretty awesome in that way.
So I guess the employers see that it's not only the kids that are learning, it's their employees that might learn something and bring it back to the company.
Absolutely. It's amazing. When I'm in the classroom, I know that I'm giving of my time and talent and sharing, but I always feel like I'm the one leaving with the most, I'm feeling so wonderful about them sharing their time as well, and just the experience. I mean, I have that smile on my face after leaving the classroom, and it just lasts. So, I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. And kids are truthful. They're so exuberant and energetic and motivated to learn. Like Sheri was talking about, they haven't been taught that failure is a bad thing. They're going to try and just keep going. And that's part of learning and part of life lessons. It's okay to fail. It's okay to just take things slowly and incrementally as you learn. And I just love their mindset when they look at a new thing.
Sheri, what is the most difficult about working in the Chess Scholars Program, and how do you address that challenge?
I think as an instructor going in, I really relish the challenge of finding that line between a relaxed, fun environment, but also one where things are not spiraling out of control and students are jumping up and down on desks and running through the halls of the school. Finding that balance between fun but controlled, providing those guidelines, and every group of students needs a different level of energy from you in terms of that. And you get a sense of that. Walking in with some students, you just get a sense of, okay, I'm going to be able to really hang back here and let them know it's okay to laugh, let them know it's okay to have fun. This is not regular school. But then other students, you walk in, you're like, okay, I'm going to have to, make sure that those boundaries and the rules, the classroom rules and expectations are up front. And then once that is understood, I'm going to be able to relax a little bit. It's a different dynamic with every group of students. And when you're walking in for the first time and not knowing what that's going to be, I really enjoy the challenge of figuring that out as soon as possible to make sure that everybody has a great time, but also that the rules are respected and that no one gets hurt.
For the students that seem more, let's say, less less respectful of the rules, do you find that when they learn chess, do they learn more control and self-control?
Yes, yes, I definitely think so. Because the key with those students is giving appropriate channels for things. And there is an appropriate channel to be kind of big and fun. And then there's also an appropriate channel for this other part of themselves too, that is able to sit down and pay attention to something and to provide a fun way for them to practice that skill and to say, hey, the reward of this is, you know, you might capture your opponent's piece, but you really have to quiet your brain and think about it, and to teach them the satisfaction of those moments of quiet contemplation. It's definitely a neat thing to see a child who was kind of bouncing off the walls in the beginning be able to sit down and focus. And there's a special way that you can take a student from the one extreme and get them focused into the ability to play. That's where a really talented teacher comes in. That is what we teach our instructors. That is what we try to train instructors to do, more so than the, you know, ABCs of how to play chess.
But I guess, not every instructor is that talented to be able to master this skill of teaching.
Well, the instructors learn too. Instructors learn just as the students do. And we are extremely proactive about helping our instructors. We're proactive about seeking feedback from schools. We check in and say, hey, how is it going? And we are very fast to intervene if there's an instructor who needs additional training or perhaps more support. We are constantly going to schools to do observations of instructors, not as a intimidating or difficult taskmaster kind of thing, but how can we come alongside you and help you with this particular group of kids? Because every group of kids might need a different solution. And so we are really pleased to be able to offer our instructors that kind of support.
Let's do a community assessment with you, a WZRD community assessment. And well, WZRD Chicago, being a nonprofit radio station, must be responsible to the community we serve. WZRD is mandated to file quarterly issues with the FCC on non-entertainment community-focused programming. So we like to assess the community, which you are, for these quarterly issue topics with 3 questions. First, what is most important to you?
I would say it's most important for children to overall feel safe and listened to. I think those are 2 very important things, and I would say that those are the top.
Sheri?
Uh,
Sheri?
yeah, I agree with that. For children to have their needs met, I think is the most important thing. All of their needs. Yeah, I think that Renee really hit the nail on the head there.
Yes. What long-term problem must we address?
Well, Sheri and I actually talked about, you know, because we like to assess where we are, whether it be societal or different age levels. We talk about different programs and the dynamics of, oh, well, this program's only going to have 3rd through 4th grade. And, you know, we like to plan ahead to really best serve, like optimally serve each individual school, to really tailor the program. So we look at different things as they come up. And one of the things we talked about is, we see it and it has to be addressed, and we do address it in our programs, and that's self-control, like we talked about earlier, part of that self-care, which is so beautifully taught during these classes, especially chess, and setting goals, you know, and how to react. I think sometimes that impulsivity it really is difficult. You know, children are impulsive by nature. I think we all are. And just taking that time, just sitting, you know, seeing the forest beyond the tree, so to speak, just taking that time to really think before we react, and having the tools in which to do so, and feeling in control of your decision. I think that's most important. And it is beautifully conveyed in our program. So I think that children are receiving what they need to be effective in having that self-control and setting goals.
And Sheri?
Yes, absolutely. Renee and I are on the same page. We were talking about this before our call, this need for students to learn how to communicate and to work together, and to have that element of self-control that helps with conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is such an important skill for everyone, and especially for students as they're growing up, to have the skills to work together and resolve conflict in a way that's mutually beneficial. And chess definitely helps teach that.
What problem must be resolved now?
I think consistency in having a routine. Everything has been very up and down and left and right. And kids have had to roll with the punches a lot lately. They have had to be very flexible. They have had to learn under so many different circumstances, and have really gone through a lot over the last year and a half. I think something short term that is needed for kids is consistency, and to have something that they can look forward to every week, smiling face of a teacher and their friends, and to be working with something that has been around for centuries, to be able to plug into that and to feel that consistency going forward, I think is an important thing.
So you mean that you're trying to make sure that that consistency is there, because you're in a position to address, to make sure that that consistency is there.
I have a family who I have been teaching virtually, and just, in an exchange of emails over something logistical about a meeting time. They said, we really want to thank you for, you have been a part of our students' lives since this pandemic started, and to have your friendly face, even just on a computer screen, there for them every week has been a blessing for our family. And I was really touched to get that, and to think that all of our instructors can offer that same friendly face to their students week by week is a wonderful thing to think about.
Well, thank you so much, Renee, Hisey, and Sheri Warren of Chess Scholars Program and After School Enrichment Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us on WZRD Chicago today.
Thank you for having us. Take care.
Thank you.